welcome back to the Upstart Zone at Digital DNA. I'm joined by Sean, who is from Myndgard. Sean, thank you ever so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me.
No worries. And how are you enjoying the event so far?
Oh, it's been a great event so far. Chatted to a lot of people, made a lot of new connections, and I really enjoyed learning more about the Northern Ireland tech community.
Excellent, happy days. So let's start with a simple one. Tell us about Myndgard. What are you up to?
So Myndgard is a digital health company, and we provide tools to support the clinical decision making for therapists. So we provide them with real-time and objective data on their patients' mental health. And the idea is that they can use this information to improve the management of the entire care pathway for therapy. So we do waitlist management, we assess the unique mental health profiles of people, we improve the personalization of treatment, track the efficacy of treatment, and then even when someone is discharged from therapy, we help monitor those patients long term so we can prevent relapses for depression and other episodes of mental health.
Wow, so lots but like impactful work that you're doing as well, because obviously mental health is something that impacts all of us. So at some point you are going to probably need to have some kind of support, whether it's one way or the other. So it's a massive industry. Like in terms of how you help, can you go into a little bit more detail about how that process actually happens? Like how do you give the psychologists or the counselors that clinical data?
Sure. So we have an app at the moment as an MVP, and in the app, patients rate their mental health twice a day for 8 weeks. And based off of those self-reported ratings, we basically do a lot of kind of analytical techniques and machine learning to process this data into insights that the therapist can use. So for one example, based off these ratings that people do every day, we can assess how different symptoms of mental health interact with each other. And based on that, we can determine what are the actual key symptoms underlying, for example, someone's depression. And by understanding what those key symptoms are, we can then recommend treatments that can target those symptoms. So someone who has a high hostility score, for instance, is very different than someone with a high distress score. And currently, it takes a really long time for therapists to try to understand, many sessions, to understand what are the actual causes behind someone's depression. And even once they understand that, it's still a very long and iterative process for trying out a treatment, seeing if it works or not. So what we can do is we can not only assess them more quickly to get, hopefully, the right treatment at the first shot, but even if it's not the right treatment, because we're continually tracking this patient over time, we can determine, well, this treatment's working or it's not. And if it's not working, we can switch them much more rapidly than they would be able to otherwise.
Wow, amazing. And like I'm guessing that you're having to do, or you're going to be doing like a lot of clinical trials to kind of back this up as well. Like, where are you at with that part? So
far, we're still in the early stages of doing trials. Last year, we did a pilot study with about 100 UCD students. So they tracked their health for 2 weeks, 6 times a day, and gave really great feedback for Myndgard. But going forward, we're looking to establish more clinical trials to evaluate the effects on personalization of treatment and long-term relapse prevention.
Amazing. Like, what's the inspiration behind this? Like, how have you got to this as a business?
So a lot of the Myndgard work is based off work I did at Trinity College for my PhD. And kind of while I was at Trinity, I did a lot of work developing AI models for predicting mental health conditions and kind of understanding the causal factors. But I saw this kind of large gap in that a lot of the research that I was doing wasn't making it to clinical applications, and that a lot of therapists really weren't using kind of the latest techniques that researchers were developing, or even the latest technologies available to them. And given that, with the rising rates of mental health conditions, combined with kind of flatlining rates of treatment efficacy. For example, in depression, only about 50% of people will respond to a treatment. I thought I would try to bridge that gap a bit and improve mental health outcomes with better research.
How receptive have therapists been to this? Can they clearly see the benefit for them as well?
Yeah, exactly. Therapists have been very supportive of Myndgard and kind of understanding the benefits that we have. Later this year, we're going to do a kind of waitlist trial with a clinic in the west of Ireland. And we're also looking to find clinics to help us with discharge planning, treatment, and relapse prevention. But so far, therapists have really been impressed with what we can deliver, and the kind of different applications that we can provide for the entire kind of treatment pathways that their patients are going through.
Amazing, amazing. Like, what's next for the business then? Like, do you need to raise investment, or are you going to try and bootstrap this along until you get to a certain point? Like, what's the plans there?
So right now we're very focused on identifying new therapy clinics to kind of try out our product. We are also looking to fundraise as well, in particular to, so right now we're using a third-party application for our MVP. We're looking to fundraise so that we can develop an app in-house and also have a proprietary dashboard as well, so looking to raise funding for that and potentially hire a CTO for that role.
Excellent, excellent. Rock and roll. It sounds like really exciting times for you as well. What drives you? Like, what makes you want to continue to do this?
It's really just trying to help people at the end of the day to do impactful work to improve people's lives, because that's really what kind of healthcare and mental health in particularly is about, is to see, there's clearly unmet need in the world. There's a lot of suffering, and a lot of that is just unnecessary. And one of the best parts about technology is that we can kind of democratize treatment and also improve it at the same time. So just trying to help as many people as possible and deliver a service that is as wide-reaching as possible.
I think it's you offering hope to people as well, because sometimes in that tunnel there's not much light, and obviously if it's something that can help therapists, then it can help their patients as well. So it sounds like a great product. So I'm really excited to see how things develop for you, Sean.
Well, thanks very much.
Yep, we're back in a minute with more chats in the startup zone, but for the time being, Sean from Myndgard. Thank you.